The 1970s gave us soul on fire.
If I don't see a ribbon around the old tree.
Funk that could shake the earth. And bands that ruled the airwaves, for better or worse. The Hues Corporation had folks clapping and critics cringing. And Disco-Tex? Well, let's just say not everyone was ready to boogie. These are the 15 R&B bands from the 70s people loved to hate, but never forgot. Number 15, the Hues Corporation. The boogie that broke the charts, and Patience.
Rock down on the inside if you wanna get to where you let them.
In 1974, Rock the Boat sailed up the charts like a tidal wave, making the Hues Corporation one of the first disco-funk crossovers to hit #1.
There's always been a quiet place to harbor you and me.
One on the Billboard Hot 100. But for every fan that danced to it under a disco ball, there were purists shaking their heads. Critics slammed them as formulaic. Bubblegum soul, some said. They weren't Motown, they weren't Stax, and they certainly weren't Philly soul. The Hues Corporation existed in this strange twilight. Too polished for funk, too syrupy for soul, too early for full-on disco. And yet, Rock the Boat became an anthem.
Freedom for the baby child.
You can almost feel the velvet suits, the blinking floor lights, and the tension between old-school soul heads and new disco lovers. The group got tagged as lightweight, and despite a few follow-up singles, they couldn't shake that image. But here's the twist. That so-called silly hit? It helped invent disco, so hate all you want. History's on their side. And if you thought that was divisive, wait till you see who slid into number 14. Number 14, Disco-Tex and the Sexolettes. Camp, chaos, and disco delirium. This one was loud, flamboyant, and absolutely polarizing. In 1975, Get Dancin' hit the clubs like a glitter bomb, courtesy of Disco-Tex and the Sexolettes. With siren-like vocals, outrageous outfits, and that unmistakable "ooh, get dancin'" chant, they were more Broadway than Berry Gordy. Disco-Tex, real name Monty Rock III, was a hairdresser-turned-nightclub icon who mixed drag energy, disco rhythm, and absurd comedy into his stage show. For fans of underground NYC club culture, it was liberation. But for radio listeners expecting soul, it felt like a bad joke in sequence. Critics called it tacky. DJs groaned. Some R&B lovers even saw Disco-Tex as mocking the genre they loved. But beneath all that chaos was a tight band and a wild experiment in showmanship. Today, it plays like a time capsule, brash, bizarre, and unforgettable. Love them or loathe them, Disco-Tex made sure you'd remember. Next up, a band that Rolling Stone once called soulless soul. Ouch. Number 13, The Captain and Tennille. Love kept them together. Barely.
It's pretty pleasing.
Sure, Love Will Keep Us Together went platinum and won a Grammy in 1975. But Captain and Tennille had a problem. Nobody quite knew what to make of them.
There ain't no sunshine when you're gone.
Were they R&B, pop, yacht soul? Their sugary smooth sound, complete with Tony Tennille's clean vocals and the Captain's ever-present sailor hat, rubbed a lot of soul fans the wrong way.
Do that to me one more time. Once says never.
Some called it whitewashed Motown. Others accused them of riding the R&B wave without understanding its depth. And yet, there they were, covering Smokey Robinson and climbing charts on both sides of the racial divide. Their take on Shop Around, a top 10 hit. But critics felt it lacked the grit, the ache, the soul of the original. It was feel-good music for the suburbs, but to many, it felt too sanitized, too smiley. Still, you can't deny they brought R&B adjacent music into living rooms that otherwise tuned out.
Hey, little man, depend on me. I'll be yours to eternity.
If you thought these were crossover controversies, number 12 is when funk fans started throwing shade hard. Number 12, the Brothers Johnson. Funk so slick it slipped through some fingers.
Hello, my love, I heard a kiss from you.
When Quincy Jones backs your debut, you're bound to turn heads. And that's exactly what happened with the Brothers Johnson.
Grab the world with a smile on your face.
George on guitar, Louis on slap bass, and an avalanche of funk fusion grooves. Their 1976 hit, I'll Be Good to You, was undeniable. But not everyone was feeling the love. Some funk purists called it too clean, too commercial, even funk-light.
Window down the candy strings, see speakers of kites.
In a decade that birthed Parliament Funkadelic's cosmic chaos and James Brown's raw gospel-infused grit, the Brothers Johnson came off to some as too smooth, too studio, like funk dipped in silk and polished until it squeaked. The slickness masked the skill, and that's where the misunderstanding lived.
For the things that I say.
Louis Johnson's bass lines, monster. Their live shows, tight. But to some critics, they felt like the soundtrack to a Cadillac commercial, not a revolution. Still, their grooves have aged well, sampled by countless hip-hop artists and rediscovered by crate diggers. Hate faded, the funk stayed. And if you think that's a silky funk debate, wait till we drop the Disco Kings at number 11. Number 11, KC and the Sunshine Band, Shake Your Booty or Cover Your Ears. They brought the party, but not everyone wanted an invite. KC and the Sunshine Band exploded out of Miami with Get Down Tonight in '75, blending R&B, disco, and Latin rhythms into a dance floor fever dream. But oh, the backlash. Critics branded them shallow. R&B heads felt the groove lacked soul. And KC, white, Miami-bred, and falsetto-driven, wasn't exactly what soul traditionalists were tuning in for. They weren't trying to be deep. Their lyrics were simple. The vibes were high. But that's what made them lightning rods. For disco lovers, they were essential. For soul fans craving message and emotion, they were the opposite.
Everybody wants your love.
By the early 80s, they became disco scapegoats, mocked, memed before memes existed, and left behind. But listen now, and those horns, that bass, that pulse, it still moves. And now, we're entering the top 10. The next name caught heat for being everywhere, all the time. And some folks just couldn't take it. Number 10, the DeFranco Family. Bubblegum soul with a side of backlash.
I don't care what's up or down, it's deep in my soul.
When Heartbeat, It's a Love Beat hit in 1973, the DeFranco Family were instant teen idols, fresh faces from Canada who fused bubblegum pop with Motown rhythms. Think of them as a squeaky clean Jackson 5. minus the grit. They had the harmonies, the matching outfits, and the frontman in Tony DeFranco who made teenage girls swoon. But for soul fans, they felt like a manufactured knockoff. Critics weren't kind either, slamming their sugary sound as derivative and opportunistic. R&B radio barely touched them, and their race, 5 white siblings, only amplified the culture vulture criticisms.
Years pass before my eyes like a vision.
They weren't trying to be exploitative, but in an era rich with authentic black soul. The DeFrancos felt to many like a marketing plan with a tambourine. Still, they had their moment. One hot year, a gold single, and 1,000 lunchboxes later, they faded, leaving behind a flash of glitter in an otherwise gritty decade. Next up, the disco funk outfit that critics said had no soul, but went platinum anyway. Number 9, Silver Convention, a fly, robin, fly. Far from critical love. When Fly Robin, Fly soared to number 1 in 1975, the German-based Silver Convention made disco history. Minimal lyrics, pulsing rhythm, and that hypnotic string section turned a club hit into a global smash. But that success brought backlash. Hard. R&B fans called it soulless. Critics derided it as lazy, just 6 words repeated over and over. To many, it felt like a parody of black music, stripped of heart, made for export. Even funk legend George Clinton once dismissed the Euro disco wave as plastic soul.
Up to the sky.
And Silver Convention, with their revolving cast of vocalists and producers, fit that mold perfectly. Tight production, no roots, and little connection to the Black American experience that birthed R&B. But here's the twist. That track still slaps. DJs still spin it. And for better or worse, it showed just how far R&B inspired disco could travel. Across oceans, dance floors, and opinions. And up next, we've got a band whose harmonies were heavenly, but for some, way too polished to be real soul. Number 8, Tavares. So smooth, it rubbed folks the wrong way. Tavares had the voices. Lord, did they have the voices? 5 Cape Verdean American brothers from New Bedford, Massachusetts, singing tight harmonies that could melt steel. Their 1975 smash, It Only Takes a Minute, was pure disco funk fire. And their Bee Gees penned track More Than a Woman from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack brought them worldwide fame.
There are stories old and true of people so in love like you and me, and
But here's the twist. The more success they had, the more hate they got from R&B purists. Why? To some, they had too much polish, too safe, too crossover. Their shift from soul to disco was seen as a sellout move, leaving behind their gospel roots for glitter and groove. Critics slammed them for chasing trends. Fans of their early work missed the grit. Even their slick wardrobe became part of the criticism. Yet, behind the disco beats were real singers with church-born harmonies and heartbreak in their voices.
when you came, my cup running over.
Tavares never stopped delivering soul. Folks just stopped listening close. And if that was too slick for some, the next band, they caught heat for being too perfect. Number 7, the Stylistics. Perfection that pierced and provoked.
You held my life within
On paper, the Stylistics were unstoppable. Tom Bell's lush production, Russell Tompkins Jr.'s soaring falsetto, strings that could break your heart in slow motion. Betcha by Golly, Wow, and You Make Me Feel Brand New weren't just hits. They were soul lullabies. But as the 70s wore on, critics began to turn. Some said the Philly sound had become too formulaic. Others felt the Stylistics leaned too far into soft pop, abandoning the raw edge of earlier R&B. One review even called them the oral equivalent of a Valentine's Day card. Ouch. They were too perfect, some argued. Too delicate for a genre born from struggle and spirit. But here's the thing. Those melodies still move people. Play one today, and you're transported. Dim lights, satin shirts, a slow dance you'll never forget. The hate, just noise. The legacy, still soaring. Coming up next, a band who dared to mix funk, pop, and parody, and got slammed for all three. Number 6, Rick Dees and his cast of idiots. Novelty funk or musical insult?
Moving my feet to the disco beat. How in the world?
In 1976, Disco Duck hit the charts like a glitter-covered prank. Radio DJ Rick Dees, backed by a group dubbed his cast of idiots, created what might be the most polarizing disco novelty track of all time. It mixed a funky rhythm section with a Donald Duck-style voice quacking through dance instructions. And yes, it actually hit number 1. But if you were a fan of serious R&B, this song felt like a slap. Some saw it as an outright mockery of disco. Others felt it cheapened black music just as it was crossing over in historic ways. Even Memphis soul artists were furious. So much so, Dees was fired from his radio station for conflicts of interest. Critics lambasted the song. Soul fans buried it. And yet, clubs spun it. Kids loved it, and it sold like crazy. A joke to some, a betrayal to others. Disco Duck danced right into infamy. And now, a band that had Motown dreams, but got none of its love. Number 5, Tony Orlando and Dawn, Vegas soul with a side of scorn.
Oh, my darling, not 3 times on the ceiling if you want.
They had hits, big ones. Tie a Yellow Ribbon and Knock 3 Times dominated the early 70s, blending soul-influenced rhythms with pop showbiz sheen. But Tony Orlando and Dawn weren't welcomed with open arms by R&B purists.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Some critics called them a lounge act masquerading as a soul group. Others saw them as cultural opportunists, scooping up elements of R&B, Latin music, and gospel, but sanding off the edges to make it TV-friendly. Their primetime variety show didn't help their street cred either.
Simple yellow ribbons, what I need, set you free.
Even though Thelma Hopkins and Joyce Vincent brought vocal authenticity, the group was often painted with the same brush, overexposed, overpolished, and underwhelming in real soul power.
'Cause I couldn't bear to see what I might see.
But time has added nuance. They represented the crossover dream, diverse, upbeat, and breaking racial barriers on screen. Hated by some, loved by many, and unforgettable regardless. If these stories behind the most controversial R&B bands of the 70s are stirring up memories or strong opinions, give this video a thumbs up. It helps us keep the conversation and the soul alive. And don't go anywhere. The top 4 bands are where the real debates still burn. Number 4, Village People. Camp icons or caricature of the culture? You know the look. The cowboy, the construction worker, the cop. And you definitely know the chant, YMCA. The Village People burst onto the scene in 1977 with outrageous flair, anthemic hooks, and a disco beat made for the dance floor. But behind the sequins and smiles was a storm of criticism.
Tell our friends goodbye. Together we will start.
To many R&B fans, the group felt like a mockery, manufactured by French producers looking to cash in on the disco craze. Some accused them of diluting the soul, appropriating the aesthetic without respecting the roots. Their costumes drew both praise and side eyes, especially from communities who felt misrepresented or stereotyped.
Sail the 7 seas. Yes, you can put your mind at ease.
Yet, for others, they were revolutionary, openly playing with gender and sexuality during a repressive era. Their records sold in the millions, clubs packed, and still, they couldn't escape the stigma of being a joke group in the eyes of critics.
Beat is gonna get you, beat is gonna get you. Music for the blue.
But here's the truth. They owned their space. They danced through the fire, and their place in disco and R&B history is undeniable. Up next, a band whose chart success made some folks furious, especially when they outsold legends. Number 3, Player. One hit, one love, and a whole lot of hate.
Spending all my nights, all my money going out on the town.
Baby Come Back. You hear those 3 words and that smooth guitar riff kicks in like a flashback. Player hit the jackpot in 1977 with that silky, soulful ballad. But here's the thing. Many R&B fans never forgave them for it.
Thinking a fool could see there was something.
Why? It wasn't the song, it was the assumptions. A group of white dudes from Los Angeles signed to RSO Records topping the R&B charts. Critics cried foul. Soul stations hesitated to play them. And when they outsold more authentic acts, the backlash hit hard.
Any kind of fool could see there was something.
Some saw them as soft rockers wearing soul skin. Others accused the industry of pushing Player while ignoring black artists doing deeper work. And yet, Baby Come Back was good, real good. Tight harmonies, aching lyrics, and a groove that still finds its way into films, commercials, and playlists.
We're in a mask of false bravado.
Misunderstood or misplaced? Maybe both. But hated? Oh yes. And still debated today. But trust me, the next 2, they lit a fire that still hasn't gone out. Number 2, the Bee Gees. From Soul Thieves to Disco Kings.
And it's me you need to shout.
Let's be clear, the Bee Gees were massively talented. Maurice, Robin, and Barry Gibb wrote harmonies like angels and had a gift for melody that rivaled Lennon and McCartney. But when they pivoted from Baroque pop to blue-eyed soul in the mid-70s, and especially when Saturday Night Fever dropped in 1977, they sparked rage in certain corners of the R&B world. How did 3 white Australians become the face of disco?
You and me, girl, got a highway to the sky.
To many, it felt like erasure. Black artists built the genre, lived it, bled for it. And suddenly the Bee Gees were on every poster, every radio, every award stage. Their falsetto-heavy tracks like Stayin' Alive and Night Fever were undeniable hits. But critics questioned the industry machine behind them. Why weren't acts like Chic, Donna Summer, or The Tramps getting the same respect?
Gotta do the things I want.
The The backlash hit hard, especially after the infamous Disco Demolition Night in 1979, where the genre was publicly shamed. For some, the Bee Gees became the poster boys of what went wrong: cultural appropriation, overexposure, and the corporatization of black music. But look again today, and you'll see the full picture. The Bee Gees paid tribute to soul, collaborated with R&B legends, and left behind a catalog that, while controversial, helped keep the groove alive. And now, number one, the band that had hits, TV deals, screaming fans, and more hate mail than maybe any act of the decade. Number one, the Jackson 5. Too perfect, too promoted, too polarizing. Yes, the Jackson 5. One of the most beloved and iconic groups in R&B history, also carried a massive target on their backs.
Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight.
By the early 70s, they were everywhere. On Motown, on American Bandstand, on lunchboxes and cartoons. Young Michael's voice could split hearts open. Jermaine, Tito, Marlon, and Jackie delivered choreography and charisma that few could match.
Baby, that's all you gotta do. Oh, ABC, it's easy as one.
So why the hate? Simple: overexposure and resentment. Some purists felt the Jackson 5 were a product, not a band. Berry Gordy's carefully engineered machine, a brilliant one, yes, but one that overshadowed older, deeper soul artists with longer struggles and more grown-up messages. There was also skepticism around their authenticity. Were they performers or puppets? Some critics accused the music of being too bubblegum, too commercial. And as Michael began to rise, jealousy brewed, even among peers. But the truth is this: the Jackson 5 brought millions of young people of every background into the world of R&B. They helped integrate stages, homes, and hearts. Hated? For sure, by some. Forgotten? Never. From disco duck jokes to funk too clean for comfort. From bubblegum backlash to culture clashes, these 15 R&B bands of the 70s prove that even hate can't stop the groove. Thanks for joining us on this soulful stroll through the misunderstood, maligned, and massively played. Subscribe to keep the groove alive and never miss our next stroll. Up next, 15 R&B songs only. Those who grew up in the 60s remember. Click the end screen and get ready to show some overdue love.